Going on to you Capricorns out here. So how y'all doing? So let's get into it for you Capricorns, right? So there's a lot of stuff happening for you, a lot of good stuff happening for you Capricorns, because a lot of you are changing the way that a lot of you Capricorns perceive relationships, the way that y'all think, and that's causing you Capricorns to start moving in a way that is unpredictable to a lot of people, right? The people who knew you, they wouldn't be able to predict how it is that you move in now. And the people who don't know you, um, they don't expect you to move this way, right? So because the situation with that is the Emperor, the Six of Gabriel, and the Empress right here speaks to how it is that a lot of you Capricorns, um, you're very much so on point. A lot of you Capricorns are focused like a laser about what it is that you want to do, not just romantically, but really what you want the next 15, 20 years of your life. The Emperor is a person who essentially is a boss. So the Emperor is a person who has foresight. They can see things happening. They are visionary. They can see things planning. Their mind is very much so opened, right? Very much so they are aware of what's actually going on around them. They are aware of what could potentially happen. So the Emperor is quite fitting for you Capricorns, because this is where it is that you Capricorns are trying to be. You're trying to get to that boss energy like it is that I said before. So the Six of Gabriel and the Empress right here speaks to how, and you're actually putting in the work. That's amazing. You're actually putting in the work to become that. But at the same time, you also have the Empress. And the Empress right here represents a couple of situations. Number one, it represents your spiritual transformation from, yes, wanting to be a boss and having visionary skills, to also understanding other people's natures and being able to communicate with other people in a way where people want to be around you, like to be around you, and they find you Capricorns not only attractive physically, but they also find you attractive mentally as well. So a lot of you Capricorns are understanding that there are some things that you have to change about your specific personality, right? That you can be determined, but you don't have to be disrespectful to other people or off-putting. And a lot of you Capricorns are learning, and you're at least trying to actually grasp that, right? Hold on. You're actually trying to, at the very minimum, grasp that, right? And to be able to understand that fact that, you don't have to, you can trust people. Because the truth is that the reason why it is that a lot of you Capricorns, can sometimes treat people in a way where it's kind of cold a little bit, and you vacillate between being hot and cold, is because a lot of you Capricorns weren't treated very fairly. And so you don't really expect people to actually treat you fairly. And at the same time, one of the greatest things that you Capricorns are learning is the Empress, which is you're learning that they don't have to treat you fairly, right? You will treat other people fairly regardless. And, if a person doesn't treat you fairly, that's fine. It doesn't mean that you Capricorns have to be around. It doesn't mean that you Capricorns have to be around them. It doesn't even mean that you Capricorns have to even take them seriously. And so because of this, a lot of you Capricorns are beginning to understand your power, more so in a sense of how to use it, right? It's one thing to have power, but it's another thing to understand how to use it. If a person disrespects you, it does not mean that you have to hang around them. I've been disrespected plenty of times before. I just got a disrespectful email today, of someone talking about how I'm a fake and that I'm a part of a cult. And I'm like, I'm like, you're so goofy. You're not even coming up with anything original. You just talking about how I'm a part of a cult just because I said that I wasn't. So again, it's the same old boring stuff. If I say left, you say right. I say right, you say left. I say up, you say down. I say down, you say up. Nothing original, nothing 100, you know what I'm saying? Just I talked about, getting an offer from a person who was a part of the Illuminati. I told the person no. The person pulled out their Shriner card, okay? The person pulled out their Freemasonic Shriner card on me and showed it to me. And me saying no to them, that means that I'm a part of a cult after I said no, right? And to the point where the person got so pushy, I actually had to block the person because of how pushy they became. So, because I'm not selling out, right? But it doesn't mean that I have to entertain it. It doesn't mean that I have to be around a person like that. When people disrespect me and then they want to come back and be like, "Hey, let's hang out." I don't have to socialize. I don't have to socialize with them. There's been times where a person was talking trash about my readings and why is it that it's so expensive? And it's like the cheapest one is $35. The most expensive one is $1,000, and $1,000 is you being paid up for hour-long readings for an entire year, which technically it would be way more expensive than $1,000, way more expensive. And I'm saying that it's for an hour long or whatever it is that you want for a calendar year, 12 months, $1,000. Come on, man. There's some things that you don't even think that you buy that cost more than that in the long run. So the point that I'm trying to make here is a lot of you Capricorns are learning how to use your power. People criticize your presence, so then don't place yourself here if they are going to have a problem with your presence. If people don't like this or if they don't like that, cool. You ain't got to hang around them. If they're moving like this or if they're moving like that, cool. You ain't got to hang around them, right? And so the Epiphany and the King of Ariel, right? Now that you Capricorns are learning how to use your power, the Epiphany and the King of Ariel represents how it represents a couple of things, because the Epiphany represents not only are you learning how to use your own presence, your power, the advantage that you bring to anyone that you care about, right? But also the fact that you Capricorns are learning how to forgive a lot of other people as well, how to not be so caught up with the day-to-day nonsensical dysfunctions that other people want to project onto you. And so the King of Ariel, in other words, when someone comes to you from a disrespectful standpoint, you're learning how to defend yourself. Instead of it being more of a ego-driven defense, it's more so of a psychic, spiritual defense, right? Where it's more so a sense of you're becoming a lot more tougher skin, because like it is that I said before, you Capricorns are learning not to internalize everything, to where even if a person is projecting, if a person is talking trash, you will understand that that type of stuff doesn't apply to you, because you Capricorns know who you are, you know what you do, and therefore, because you know who you are and what you do, if they say something about you, you will understand if it applies to you or not, right? And that's one of the biggest things about projecting. This is why I say that you can't do that with everybody, because like a person, they can only, I don't want to teach people, but they can't do that because it's stupid. Because if they say something and then it doesn't apply to you Capricorns, if you can know that it doesn't apply to you, you'll be able to brush that off your shoulder, right? Like for instance, if somebody said that, oh, you Capricorns are poor, right? Financially, right? Specifically, right? And then you Capricorns have billions of dollars, you're going to be like, You know, like you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that defense because you know how stupid it is. You know it's stupid. You know it. You know it. You know it. You're like the chairman of BlackRock, right? I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying actually, but for example, you would be like the chairman of BlackRock, but then somebody's calling you financially broke, and it's like, do you know that BlackRock is worth 10 to 15 trillion dollars, and the person is talking about how you're poor financially or broke, right? So a lot of you Capricorns are understanding not to internalize everybody's stuff. A lot of you are becoming a lot more solid minded. See, a lot of the times when it came to you Capricorns, you would be in solitude because you couldn't take the dysfunction of other people, right? Yes, a lot of it was to recuperate or to rejuvenate yourself, but at the same time, it was also because a lot of you Capricorns didn't like the others being around you, right? Other people being around you made you Capricorns feel uncomfortable. There was a lot of projections. But now it's it's a very powerful thing to see how you Capricorns are learning to become more comfortable around others and to not take the stuff that other people throw onto you seriously, because a lot of it is trash. Look, I'm not a part of any cult. Okay. As a matter of fact, cults asked me to join, right, in the form of the whole Freemasonry thing, and I turned them down. I could prove that, you know. I turned the person down. I said, "Nah, I'm cool. Nah, I'm cool." You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm cool. No, thank you. Why? Because I ain't selling out. Like I said before, I'm Moorish American. So why would I go from being Moorish American to now go to be a Freemason for them to be able to teach me the same thing that I done went ahead and learned being a Moor without having some sort of like conflict or whatever in order to learn the knowledge. All I had to do was fairly ask, and I learned the knowledge without having to deal with such harsh conditions. Being a Mason, people will tell you, oh, you can't do this, and if you do this, then X, Y, and Z will happen to you and all that stuff, you know? And how I know that was because the Mason didn't want me to saying that I heard this from such and such. You know, maybe it's not even maybe the threat isn't even real. But the point that I'm trying to make here is you Capricorns are learning how to become more comfortable with other people. So it makes it harder for other people to be able to actually tell you Capricorns that you're worthless. It makes it harder for people to come into your lives and they just basically do the bare minimum. And what I mean because we need to actually clarify what the bare minimum is. A person willing to, a person willing to not actually care about you. So the bare minimum actually depends on person to person. So if the person is rich and they just spend money, but they don't actually care about you, they perceive you as a terrible person, that is the bare minimum because they have tons of the money. So the money is not an issue, especially if they know how to generate it. If a person is a vagrant or whatever, and excuse me, if a person is, let's just say they're regular, right? They're a regular average working person, right? And they don't want to actually take you out on a date. They don't actually want to get you so much as a Mickey D's or McDonald's or whatever, ever. That's the bare minimum because they actually could be doing more, but they don't ever really do anything else, right? They're treating you from in other words, they're treating you from a perspective of like you're trash or like they're basically objectifying you, right? So it's harder for people to now objectify you, right? You know, you Capricorns just look good and your body look good, and they want some of it if you will, or if you are consenting, of course. And if you are, they don't ever actually want to hang out. They don't do any of that stuff. They don't trust you. They just basically want to get a piece of you. And as soon as they get a piece of you, that's pretty much it. That's all they care about. It's hard. It's going to be harder for people to actually be able to fool you now. Now, to move forward, you have the Page of Ariel and the Nine of Ariel. Let me know in the comment section if you actually like this video, by the way. And tell me your thoughts also, right? What's been going on with you? Has this been happening to you? But the Page of Ariel and the Nine of Ariel speaks to how you Capricorns are on that journey now, just now starting out, of knowing how to use your power, okay? Because, you know, I understand your perspective. You know, Capricorn is always seen as the boss and powerful and all of that stuff, right? But that up until this point, you Capricorns never knew how to utilize the power that you have. You never knew how to use it. You see, that's the problem with you Capricorns. A lot of you Capricorn and a lot of you Capricorns are book smart, street stupid. You know what you're doing in business, but how understanding human nature, understanding different aspects of how people think, understanding and being able to predict people's moves, a lot of you Capricorns need help with that. And so a lot of you Capricorns are finally learning how that actually works. And see, the thing is that the Nine of Ariel speaks to how, and you're thankful because of it. Because you're one of those Capricorns that won't be just used, you know, taken for granted, and, you know, all you are is a good body and maybe some money, and then they use that or whatever the case may be, right? You Capricorns actually get the respect because you will be able to see it when they pull the bare minimum and actually call it out like, hey, you know, if the person isn't actually planning on really doing anything for you like that, other than just taking you home and having romantic fun, well, then they're basically, okay, then they basically know that, then you basically will know that that's what it is that they're doing, and you Capricorns will actually call them out on that. And see, then you have the Ten of Gabriel and the Seven of Gabriel, right? So the Ten of Gabriel and the Seven of Gabriel, oh, and you will leave them alone because your self-respect is too much. Yeah, you will have too much self-respect than to see what it is that they're doing, know that they're actually giving you the bare minimum, right? They don't actually really take you seriously, and you Capricorns will be able to see it and move away. So a lot more people in the future, if they try to pull this with you, they're not going to be able to actually really deal with this from you, because you Capricorns will be too far ahead of the curve. You will know how to handle the situation if they're not coming to you and actually taking you seriously, because that is what the relationship is. That's what it is that you Capricorns are missing. You're missing people taking you seriously, right? You know, you Capricorns will you want love, but that's the secret ingredient. That's the Krabby Patty secret formula, so to speak, right? You want love and you want the kind of attention and real love, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem that you Capricorns have been missing is that you haven't been paying attention to if people take you seriously, and if people take themselves seriously enough to actually want to do better, right? Maybe you Capricorns have been hanging out with some bums. Maybe you Capricorns have been, you know, whatever the case may be. But the point that I'm trying to make here is, you know, you Capricorns are the number 10, right? Or 1, right? And the number 10 or number 1 has very powerful, it's a very powerful number, very powerful number. And see, the thing is that the Seven of Gabriel and the Seven of Michael speaks to how, and not only will you leave them alone, But the Seven of Michael speaks to you will actually know to put up boundaries with them and to stop taking them seriously. So you won't spend so much time on individuals whom you Capricorns don't take you seriously. Whether it's job, romance, friendship, um, familial ties, which will then end up having you Capricorns free up a lot more time. So this is very good because this is an overall understanding. I didn't realize that much time passed, but it's a very good reading because this is an overall understanding of you Capricorns being able to understand your own value, how to utilize your own power, right? The Emperor is the visionary and the power, but the Empress is how to use said power, right? So let's clarify some of these cards. Let's clarify the epiphany. Now another word for epiphany is a revelation or a realization, right? So this is another indication on how I know that what you've got going on is you Capricorns finally figured out that you are going to basically be able to utilize your presence. If a person wants you to be in their life, they're going to have to actually take you seriously and do right by you. If they're not planning on doing that, if that's going to be a problem, you will leave. So let's clarify the epiphany. Let's clarify the epiphany. The Ten of Cups, Four of Wands, Four of Cups, the Six of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, and then you have the Five of Wands. So to clarify the epiphany, right, which is the Hermit, basically. The Ten of Cups, the Four of Wands, is because you understand your own importance and you understand that a lot of the times in relationships, you Capricorns will be the ones that actually end up bringing the majority of the value. Four of Wands. So of course people want to be with you because you're the one that ends up bringing the majority of the value, all of it, or the majority of it. And the Four of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands, but in the past it still ends up messed up due to the fact that the other person's very entitled to your finances or to your love or to your attention, to your loyalty, but they're not actually, they're not obligated for themselves to be loyal to you Capricorns, right? You find yourself being on the end where you're the one that gives way more than they do. And yet and still, you are unfortunately the one that has to be called trash, not valued, or whatever. No, this is you Capricorns actually understanding that you are valued and that if you're going to remain in a person's life, they better treat you like you're valuable. Very good. Let's clarify the Nine of Ariel. Now, the Nine of Ariel also represents you Capricorns glowing up, becoming a lot more attractive, starting to take good care of yourselves, all that good stuff, right? The Nine of Wands, the Sun card, the Scorpio energy, the Emperor, and the World card. Amazing. The World card is Capricorn, but this is the best card to actually end the reading on. So yeah, I'm gonna take that as a cue. But the point is that the Nine of Wands, to clarify the Nine of Ariel, which would be like the Pentacles, right? Nine of Pentacles is the Nine of Ariel, the Sun, and the Scorpio energy. now you're going to put that same kind of attention that you put to other people that did not deserve it onto yourself, and trying to make sure that you Capricorns are the best that you can be, so that the next person who gets into a relationship with you, they will take you more seriously. And then the thing is that the Emperor and the World card right here speaks to how a lot of you are in a position where, because you see this, you know where this is going to go. You Capricorns have the vision. You know that if you take better care of yourselves, a person better come correct, because if they don't, right, confidence is up, and then you're learning your own value as a human being too. You do deserve respect based upon your own uniqueness of being alive. So if a person doesn't want to treat you like a human being, if a person doesn't want to actually take you seriously, you're not going to take them seriously. And therefore, you Capricorns are going to leave, because you Capricorns, you have a plan. Y'all are the ones usually with the plan. You know what you want to do. You're doing your thing. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Peace. Have a good one.